patriotism, bards of brilliance, bariters of bravery, rhymesters of rebellion, and wayfarers of wisdom flock together, for now is the time to listen to a tale. A fairy tale devoid of today's presence. A tale of smoke, bows, and magic. One nestled in the days of happy yore, one lulled in the vineyards of Balians. We present to you RETROUVAILLE. The land of Saketa was a strife-free one, under the reign of its noble king Shaktagraja. He was a king that one would only hear stories of, a king who was labeled with the idea of being a myth in lands far off. For any person too good to be true is inadvertently thrown into the sills of legend. The kingdom had been broken to pieces after Shaktagraja's demise. For when the holding string breaks, the bridge falls. His two sons, as one would imagine, turned out to be the doom of the kingdom. Two brothers, always at loggerheads with one another. Vikrama, the elder son, took the northern Kausala and established his reign. The younger son, Trishna, did the same. And they had soon become the downfall of the once great empire, both crammed with avarice to conquer each other's land.
The defeat is on the cards. We shall pulverize out like an infant, dethroned by our own sword arts, crumbled by my scent.
O king, where do you draw your breath from? The dick's full of stupidity, or from your supine sword that is long, even to a thread of ferocity?
We shall see soon enough if it is sovereign, if it is my sword that is blunt or your skull. For here I am your eminent being, brave enough to destroy your name.
Oh, you lion-hearted dove, would a mouse be brave or bold to stand in front of the lion and grove, his tongue raised in a crackling grove?
Once never a king by lineage. A king, or for that matter a queen, is only the product of leadership. Leadership that can stand still even in the restless hue and cry of barbarians. Leadership that can stand still even in waters of reflexive despotism. Leadership that doesn't assign itself a gender, which embraces a man with a sword or a woman with just 5 fingers, strong enough to command a whirlwind.
Oh well, had been your father's supreme aid. I know the precepts of this land's law and trade. Are you kidding? Simmer down. Oh, younger one, I've been your father's sheepman Friday, and I shall gladly pay for any toll you pay. Take him away. You should pay for this.
So in these times, when peace was at stake, when two rulers, in spite of what they are bound to do, succumb to their condescending selves of overbearing ego, when once green lands turn barren, when once flourishing wells parch, when once great dominions turn bleak, when once happy people turn outcasts, when once war was just a balladmonger's tale, came the suggestion of their ministers.
Oh, sire, why not iron out this hitch for all? This propose a judicial duel, a deciding brawl, to make him frail, fit, and fine to fall, before this undying fiction comes to fall.
A fitting notion indeed to settle on, a face-off on Sas of the Sunya only to prevail. For once he perishes, the plight shall be gone, and I hold sway this land, never again to fail.
Ha! So it is your majesty, you shall soon rule all of this land.
Send once a dispatch to those unhappy tall timbers, and prepare my sword, honed no longer for lumbers.
A treaty for you, sire, want to settle it for king. Perhaps a great latitude to set fire to those wilds of no lips.
Prepare my maces and my brands, veteran enough to slay in a solitary stroke, the bravest of warriors or king of lord. Set our course to the knot of lands of whatsoe'er is built to a bespoke, winner of combat and a victory never espied before.
Despite their wives warning them not to wield swords against each other, they were in love with the toxins of war, and so they fought. They set off to the sea of Saskatasunya, stooging away into the waters of nothingness, and fought for days, weeks, and months, wetting their swords every other day, be it under the most pleasant sun or the highly clad sky, or when the sea was skinned to silence, or the hair to the greatest tempest drawn. The clinging of the blades was never to deceive. As evening fell, tankards of meat. At the morning bell, battles of wheat. Everything subject to two men so full of themselves, and progress was in vain. Meanwhile, back in Kosala and Karusha, the regions Jnanasena and Chanakya, despite being wise, were no different to their kings.
The sea shall soon be lay, with Brahma's life our side shall rule. This, that, and what the stars say, you too shall be his fool.
You say our king's sword is better for traction. You think not what you say equal, for that's like saying that in faction. The rest has no sequel.
The sensible Kundalini and Drishti, afraid that with such hate the citadels may fall, assumed the throne to quell what may befall. They met at the borders, where the refugees prayed to them, hands joined and hopes coined.
Let us pity in this loss, O Queen. It's time to resent this hate. Let these peasants live in peace, and let the waters come free. Fair say, fellow woman, for now is the time to fleece off this disrelish and bring back stability and reason, or what the once great father of our husbands built will but perish.
So war had ended, and two queens, understanding that their union proved much, joined the forces of Karusha and Kosala. And once again, the great land of Saketa had been restored. Jnanasena and Chanakya, who still proved to be wise masters of administration, remained loyal to the throne, and were soon joined by a new minister, Manojava, whose prowess proved non-perilous. Yet, despite prosperity blooming, a wicked aunt of the king's Mantara did not approve of the queens.
What doom are you trying to bring upon this land? Two women on the throne? Those seats are in for a song, but grand. And for acting on your whims, you shall be bemoaned. Who is this womanish Bob, the third in your girlish mob?
I, Miss Mandara, am the minister of this land. Not a loose-tongued argument or a complaining fiend. Just one who is to will despite your rant.
Escort the lady to her chambers. Perhaps she's bewitched by the sun. Continue, dear neighbors, for to Magadha we shall soon run.
Having fought for 3 years in the sway of that vast ocean, their beards grown and weapons tired. For equal strengths are meant to be divided, only united. Calling it an inevitable truce, they returned to a regal land of merchants, marigolds, and merriness, peace, party, and prosperity. Surprised, they go to the court, only to find their wives on the plinth of that plenipotent peace.
Look at you! Mantled by your own disdain, threadbare by your own undoing. To return after a win in vain. To reclaim what you once destroyed, but again for food.
Expelled you are by the laws of the rulers, away to some boondocks of pride. Taking into account your maneuvers, your undoing was brought by your own tide.
Show them the way out.
So away they went, with blunt swords and blighted egos, leaving the land in its milk and honey, and stopped at the same seaside that induced their downfall, staring into oblivion.
Who's to say whose it's on its own? Its history, its pride, norms, requirements? No, I don't think so. It's time. Time says it all. Time that is given enough to catapult shilly-shally soul of man into greatest depths of unforeseen closure. As they say, a leader does not seek to lead. He's called to it, and he has it.
We should have heeded to father and to those frail suggestions once in a while. we would still be on our thrones, north of the sacrimonious isle.
Why do we, be claimants of power, beguiled by avarice? And now look at us, we are but mere kings flouted into a nameless abyss.